My name is Genesis. A couple of years ago, my mom woke up from a coma and kidnapped me. Then I found out that my whole life has been a lie. This story started when I was about 4 or 5 years old. I don't remember much, so most of it was told to me by my auntie. My mom was an ill, confused person. She didn't care for me and would forget me in a mall or in a street. One time, she even deliberately left me on a bus hoping that I'd get lost and she'd be free of me. Part of me was glad that she got into an accident and went into a coma. My loving aunt took me and raised me as her own, and life was going splendidly. I called my aunt by her first name, Jen. Jen and Jen. This was written on our doorstep. 10 years flew by, and I forgot about my past. We had no contact with the other side of the family, but we were enough for each other. I traveled to different states, met a lot of interesting characters, even got my first boyfriend, Finn. And here comes the end of last year. I was 14 at the time. Finn and I were hanging around in our backyard by the pool when Jen came in looking like a ghost. She sat down beside me, hugged me, and said, "I got a call from the hospital. They're ready to pull the plug. There's nothing else we can do. It's time." Honestly, I felt relieved. I never knew that dreadful woman, and I figured that was going to be the end of that chapter. We even kind of toasted to it that evening, happily cheering that we'd be rid of the burden. But the past has a way of catching up with you. A week went by, and my aunt got another call. She rushed to the kitchen to take it and came back smiling from ear to ear. But this time it seemed forced. "I got a job in another town, Jen! We're moving!" she screamed. We packed our things in 2 days and we were gone. We'd just moved into a new home when strange things started to happen. Every time I left for school, I saw this strange woman sitting at the other side of the street in a cafe, drinking coffee and staring at me. Every morning, exactly 7:30 a.m., she'd be there. For a minute there, I thought that she might be my mother. But Jen told me she was dead. We unplugged her. There was no way. Then the week passed and my math teacher said that we'd have a new teacher. This new teacher came in and she was the same woman. Her long hair and sinister look, as if she was a witch, were sending shivers down my spine. She didn't approach me that day, but I would catch her watching me. In the classroom? In the cafeteria? Outside of school? I couldn't take it anymore. And one day, I came home and told Aunt Jen about this woman. Jen went ballistic. "The hell are you talking about? And you didn't tell me? She'll take you. She'll destroy you." Jen started screaming and packing our things. I had never seen her so chaotic. "But Mom is dead, right?" I asked, perplexed. "No, she isn't. Now take what you can carry and let's move," Jen said, while continuing packing and panicking. I grabbed her by the hand, trying to calm her down, to stop and listen, talk, explain. But she was so aggressive, she damn near hit me. "She's alive, okay? She's alive. I got a call, and she's alive. I don't know how she found us." She was close to crying. I couldn't understand. If my mom was so dangerous, why couldn't we call the police? Why would the school hire her? It was the first real fight we'd ever had. I sat on the floor and said that I wasn't moving until she explained herself. Chaos ensued. Screaming, throwing clothes, sobbing. Finally, after an hour, she sat down by me and we hugged. I knew that her heart was torn, but she agreed to stay. Soon, I found out that there were way crazier things in my family than she'd ever told me, and there would be a lot of crazy things happening until it all went back to normal. Now, I had to live my life with my mom lurking in the shadows, and at school. She didn't know that I knew, so she mostly kept her distance. Until this one crucial day. I was waiting outside the school for Aunt Jen to come get me, but she was late. I tried calling her, but nobody was answering and it was getting late. I was sitting in the parking lot alone with nobody around when I felt a tap on my shoulder. "I can give you a ride if you want." I turned around to see my evil mom staring deep into my soul. What does she want from me? I thought. She wanted to get rid of me in the first place. Is she out for revenge? Does she really hate me so much that she wants to destroy my life completely? "I'm gonna scream," I answered. I wasn't gonna give her the satisfaction. I wouldn't lose without a fight. "No need. I just want to give you a ride. It's cold and it's gonna rain soon," Mom said. I tried calling Jen, but she seemed busy, so I finally agreed. We got into a car and didn't talk for about 10 minutes when I figured out that we were driving in the opposite direction of my home. "Turn around!" I screamed and tried to open the door, but it was locked. "Turn around! Please! Please!" I kept begging her. She seemed scared and confused by my reaction, but wouldn't listen to me. "No, we're gonna drive for a while and go back to my place, and you're gonna hear me out, Genesis." My mom's voice was cold as ice. There were no other cars on the road. We were driving through the forest, and in my heart, I knew I was getting kidnapped. It was a strange feeling to be scared of your mom, to wish she was actually dead. We stopped in the forest and she got out. I followed, defeated. We were walking silently somewhere when I simply asked her, "Why do you hate me?" She didn't answer for a while. Then she said, "Are you gonna run?" I said, "No." We sat down near this old bonfire. "I'm gonna tell you some surprising, life-shattering things. You'll have all the information, and then you can do what you will," my mom started. And with every sentence she muttered, I got more and more disturbed. She started from the point where she had me with my dad. He was a professor at a university, and he taught both my mom and aunt. As my mom told me, my aunt was obsessed with him. She stalked him. She appeared at his home a lot of times, even got a suspension. But my mom and that professor fell in love and created a family. My aunt got insanely jealous. She even tried seducing my dad, but he wasn't having it. One time, she borrowed my mom's car, and after she gave it back, my mom and dad got into an accident. My dad died, and Mom fell into a coma. And that's how Jen got me. Mom was getting better when my aunt asked the doctors to pull the plug. But one of them decided to wait a bit longer without telling anyone. And as soon as my mom woke up and knew I was alive, she came to get me. I couldn't believe everything that she was telling me. I never knew this woman, and now she wanted me to believe that my whole life was a lie. I ran to the car crying, got in, and told her to get me home. "There are a couple more people that want to meet you. Then I promise I'll get you home," she said. Later on, she broke that promise, but I'll get into that later. We drove to this strange, cozy, sweet town and knocked on someone's door. This elderly couple opened the door and started tearing up and hugging me. From that point, I knew that they were my grandparents. And after seeing them, I felt in the deepest part of my heart that my mom's story was true. And what happened later just confirmed it. As my mom was trying to get me back, my aunt's true colors came out. She threatened both of us. She threw all of my things in the trash bin and set some of them on fire. Now, after 2 years, my life has completely turned around. I had to get a restraining order for someone that raised me. My mom and I are still getting to know each other. She's given me a lot of space and time to deal with all of it, and she gives me freedom to make my own decisions. But I'll forever have it ingrained in my mind that you have to know both sides of the story if you want to know the truth.
Did you